Welcome to BioRhythms. I'm Terrance Afer-Anderson. What you're watching is an incredible video that features an even more incredible woman, a bodybuilder and women's fitness pro by the name of Amira Juma.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. Welcome to BioRhythms.
Thank you for having me.
Yours is such an incredible story, and as I do with all of our guests, I like to start from the beginning. Where are you from?
I'm from Herndon, Virginia.
I'm very familiar with Northern Virginia. Yeah, I'm very familiar with Northern Virginia. So that's your home? Did you grow up in Herndon?
I grew up in Herndon, and I moved to Norfolk in 2011.
What brought you to Norfolk?
The Navy, actually.
Okay. You're in the Navy now?
No, I was in the midshipman program over at Old Dominion University.
I see. Okay, so tell us, who is Amira Juma? And I guess a good way to start is your name. What does your name mean? Do you know?
My first name means princess, and my last name means Friday.
Princess Friday?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes.
That would be a great name for a play or for a movie. Huh?
Yes.
So tell us again about Princess Friday. You're from Herndon, Virginia.
I'm from Herndon.
Did you go to the public schools?
I went to the Fairfax County Public Schools, Herndon Elementary, Herndon Middle, Herndon High. Okay. Graduated and then went to Old Dominion.
What kind of kid was Amira?
I was a good kid.
Yeah?
Yes. I played sports all my life growing up. So I started when I was 4 playing soccer.
You started playing soccer at age 4?
Mm-hmm. They have those on teams. So I started playing when I was 4 and then basketball too up until I graduated high school.
You played basketball as well?
Yes.
Starting at age 4?
Starting at age 9 was basketball, 4 was soccer.
So you did soccer and basketball. Did you get involved in any other athletic activities or sports?
I did in high school. I did track and field, and I participated in the field part, not so much track part. And then I actually did powerlifting in high school as well.
Really? Mm-hmm. So you've always had an interest in toning up and the maintenance of the body and working out and so forth. What do you think that comes from? Why do you do that?
I always thought it was more of like an artwork and kind of the way you're able to shape your own body. And I always liked the idea of being strong. I come from a single mother household, so my idea is always to be a very strong, independent woman. So I always liked the idea of being strong, and for me, being strong was doing sports and becoming physically stronger.
Did you have brothers that you would compete against?
No, I have one older sister.
Okay, and so your mom kind of instilled that into both of you to be strong? Mm-hmm. So what do you get from are you driven by the competitive nature of sports and physical activity?
Currently, I'm I'm a cancer survivor. So currently, when I'm doing my bodybuilding competitions, what I've been through drives me to compete now. Because, a lot of people are scared to do these competitions because you put so much out there, or people are so scared to be embarrassed. But once you've been through these treatments and you've been through this illness, you no longer care.
Tell me how that motivates you. I think you touched upon that just now, but what did that experience do to motivate you?
It brought me to, like I had said, just to not care what others think. And then, growing up, when you tell someone you want to do something and it sounds a little bit impossible or not like you, and people tell you can't do that, it just makes you want to prove them wrong even more.
Mm-hmm. Did it make you want to develop your body even more so that you could battle this? It
did. When I was going through treatments, I went through around 4 or 5 months of chemo, and then a whole month of
4 or 5 months of chemo.
And then a whole month of radiation, and my body was so torn up. I had lost all my muscle mass, and I was put on steroids, prednisone, to put on weight, which was fat, to keep me alive, to give me energy. So everything that I had worked for, was gone. And that's fine because that's what I needed to do to stay alive. But afterwards, when I got into remission, I wanted to change that. I didn't want to stay that way. I was no longer sick. There was no longer a reason for me to be that way. And I wanted to make a change.
That's a compelling story. How old were you then?
I was diagnosed at 19.
At 19. Okay. I don't want you to date yourself, but that's still a pretty age to have to deal with all of that.
Yes.
And how much release, was it therapeutic for you to do the working out and so forth?
It was therapeutic. It's more of, a lot of people do things to de-stress themselves, and everyone's different. Mine is working out. That's how it's my reliever, it's my therapy.
Now, when you get involved in competition, do you reflect back on the competitive nature you had as a
Of
youth?
course, yes.
Yeah. So can you elaborate? I mean,
I always want more for myself. I'm not satisfied with just being okay at something. I always want like more, and I want greater. And from having these treatments and been through what I've been through, I think I'm invincible. Like, I survived this crazy disease, and I can do anything if I put my mind to it. And
so you were setting goals as a youngster, is that correct?
yes.
And how important is that to you? To your daily existence. When you set goals.
You should always set goals. You should make them attainable, and you set small goals and also long-term goals, but set those small goals to get to that long-term goal. And I still do that till this day, even if it's something very small. Like, I want to increase my squat by like 5 pounds. It's something small, but it's going to help me get to that long-term goal.
What would you say to a young woman, whether she's dealing with any health issue or not, that wants to get involved in something like competitive bodybuilding? What would you say to her? What kind of guidance would you give her?
I would say to go ahead and go for it and do whatever you want to do, because you've already been through so much. You have nothing to lose.
And what about the appearance of the body? When I was talking to folks about your coming onto the show, I was saying that she looks incredible, because sometimes you see female bodybuilders and their body, it looks really rather different, and you don't have that going on, So how did you? Is that because of the program that you chose, or?
I'm all natural, so especially.
What does that mean?
I don't take aids such as steroids or testosterone boosters. So I do drug-tested shows through drug-tested organizations that they have here in the Hampton Roads area. So depending on which federation you'd want to do, some drug tests and some don't.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we want to talk about the beauty aspects of power building, of bodybuilding and weightlifting. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're talking to Princess Friday, also known as Amira Juma, a professional bodybuilder and women's fitness pro. So let's talk about the beauty aspect of it. Women, and I don't mean to sound stereotypical, but to paint a stereotypical portrait, but women, of course, are very concerned with their appearance. How has your bodybuilding helped you in that regard?
Definitely have become more confident. My whole goal when I was coming into remission was to have changes in my body as my hair grew back. So as my hair started to grow back, I set those small goals for myself within the weight room. So I could have these goals, and I paired it with my hair growing back just because that was something I wanted to do personally. But it builds your confidence, and it makes you, everyone says, you're as beautiful as you are on the inside, but you want your insides to match your outsides. And for me, I'm very strong, and I wanted my outer appearance to match what I felt was my inner appearance as well.
So what does a typical workout look look like for you? And let's do it, say, like in the beginning to where you are now, because I would imagine now, I mean, you brought your fiance with you. You probably work up much harder than him, Zach, handsome Zach over there. But what does your workout look like? Again, let's look at your early workouts compared to what you're doing now.
First starting out, honestly, I was just trying to walk by myself again. Okay. I most of the time needed help just to get around places because I was so weak. I had no muscle mass. I was very sick. So it started off walking 5 minutes, taking a break, to starting to lift again after I got my walking strength back.
So you were lifting before. That's what you said, though.
I was lifting before I was sick, but during being sick, I had lost complete strength. So I had to start off very slowly. If you can think about more like rehab. So I had to start off very slowly. If it started off walking 5 minutes on the treadmill and then trying to just lift very light weights, I was at a point where, I couldn't even like air squat my own body weight because it was too hard for me to do. And compared to now, I'm better than I was before I was sick.
So again, what does the program look like? How many squats? How much are you lifting? And
well, typically as bodybuilders, we don't max out, but we split our days up between body parts. So I'll have chest days, back days, leg days. The last time I hit a max on a deadlift, I was able to get 305.
A deadlift? Mm-hmm. What is a deadlift?
You're
talking to a complete neophyte.
It's when you pick the barbell up from the ground.
Okay. So you would alternate from different parts of the body. Mm-hmm. Okay. And was that a consistent?
Every week.
Yeah.
Every week.
So 7 days in a week. Did you work on a different body part every day?
Every day.
You start all over again.
Every day is different, and then sometimes I'll take days off, depending on how I feel. Sometimes your body just tells you need to take a day off, you need to rest. Right. I'll take a day off sometimes, and then I'll repeat the same cycle over and over again.
Before we get to the end of the show, we have another segment to go, but I want to make sure we get some contact information because you do this for a living.
Yes,
right?
I do.
And how do people reach you? If they want to if they want you to be a trainer, their trainer.
They can email me at ajuma001@odu.edu, and I'd be happy to help them.
Okay, and so you're based at ODU and you work at another facility?
I'm based at ODU. I work at the Old Dominion University facility as well as the Kroc Center facility, depending on people's locations.
And you design a program specific to the interests and the needs?
The interests and the needs and the goals of the client. Mm-hmm. Not everyone's goal is the same, so their workouts would not be the same.
How long have you been a trainer?
I've been training with a certification for the past year, a little over a year now.
With the certification, you have to become a certified trainer?
Yeah, I'm certified, and I will be getting my degree in health movement sciences within this year as well from Old Dominion.
Very good. Now, you mentioned earlier a midshipman program at ODU. Mm-hmm. Is that something that, that's what brought you to the area?
Yes.
So your plan was to go into the Navy?
My plan was to commission as a naval officer.
Okay, and then the illness kind of altered your plan?
Yes, like it did everything. Okay. So when I got sick, I was still in the Hampton Roads unit. And I was put on an LOA, it's what they call a leave of absence. Right. So when I returned, once the severity of my cancer, I was not able to return back or join any other military branch.
Oh, really? Not at all?
No.
And when did you start competing?
I started competing right after I got into remission. So I got into remission.
Right after you got
Well, I had to train for it. So I got into remission in May of 2013, and I did my show in 2014. And now I'm training for a strongman competition April 25th of this month.
Strongman competition?
Yes.
Shouldn't it be strong woman competition?
Yeah, strong woman, we'll call it that.
Yeah, okay. As I shared with you before you came onto the show, I didn't want to focus so much on the health, but to talk about you, what motivates you. And we're going to take another break here. And when we do, when we come back, we're going to talk a bit more about these competitions and where, I know as an athlete, you go into a zone. to compete. So I want to talk about that and where your mind goes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about the zone that you go into when you're competing, and I definitely want to talk about that. But let's begin with something else that I noticed on your Facebook page. Okay, we're Facebook friends. Thank you for accepting the friend request. I really wanted you to come onto the show. What you had posted was something, and I found it completely humorous, but I also wondered the way it must impact you. This was a post about what the things not to say to a biracial woman. What brought that on? I mean, it's obvious, but tell us about that.
I had saw the post and thought it was funny. People always think I'm a foreign exchange student or I don't speak English or something like that. Yes. I'm from Herndon, right, which is mostly full of Latinos and Hispanics. So a lot of people will just assume that I just don't speak English or I'm Hispanic.
But you're telling me your mom is from Poland?
My mother's actually from Poland and my father's Libyan. So I'm not Hispanic at all.
Not at
and
all.
I do speak English, yes.
Okay. And the people, they say all kinds of crazy things, as an example.
On one of the posts it said, just, when you ask us where we're from and we tell you, we're from Virginia, for example, and they said, well, where are you really from? Like everyone's very interested in knowing your racial background and just won't let go of it.
Now, did you encounter that type of, I'll call it prejudice, as a kid, as a child?
I grew up in a 100% Hispanic neighborhood,
so folks just made the assumption.
So I mean, it was an easy assumption to make. So people just made the assumption that I was Hispanic, and then my mom is blue eyes, brown hair, and I had people think she was just a very light-skinned Puerto Rican.
Really?
And she's actually from Poland.
From Poland,
yes,
right,
from
right,
Eastern Europe, but yeah.
So you alluded earlier to the fact that you're a strong woman, okay? And certainly you didn't necessarily encounter a lot of discrimination because of your ethnicity, you're being biracial, but that probably still helped to put a little bit of steel in your veins.
It did.
When you go into a zone to compete, I'm just making the assumption that you do in fact do that. What is it like? Where does your mind go when you are competing? You have to be very much aware of the environment. You have to be very much aware of what you're actually doing. But what do you focus on?
When you're competing, even when you're training every day, you have to have a certain mindset. You have to know what you want and what you're going for. You can't just go for something and half do it. Everything has to be 100%. Competing on the stage is great because it just feels like you on that stage. You can't see the crowd. Everyone's blacked out. At the end, when you do your own routine and it's to a song, it just feels like you are just moving with the music, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Basically, you choreograph your routine.
You're showcasing yourself to a song.
Right.
It's not a dance routine, it's a flexing routine, but a posing routine. But I don't want to say like you lose yourself, but when you're training, you're just in that zone because you know what you want, you know what you're going for, and you have to be in that mindset to get it.
Now, so where have you competed? Where have you gone? You traveled, done a lot of traveling?
Actually, Hampton Roads is great for competing. They have a ton of shows down here. I competed in OCB, Battle for Tidewater, this past October.
OCB is an acronym for?
I don't know what it stands for, but it's a natural show.
Okay, natural?
Natural,
okay.
So they drug test.
Okay, all right. And any other competitions locally?
I'll be doing the Strongman April 25th.
And where is that held?
That's in Woodbridge, Virginia.
Okay. So again, what would you say to someone that we talked about how you would, what suggestions you would give to someone that wants to work with a personal trainer? But let's say someone who wants to go beyond that and be a competitive bodybuilder. What would you say to that person, male or female? Let's start with female.
I'd say, well, even for male and female, I'd say, why not? Why can't you?
Right,
why do you doubt yourself? If you want something, you'll find a way to make it happen. And it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to, maybe not even in a year, but if you want something bad enough, it will happen.
Do you find, Amira, that you intimidate men?
Yes.
Yeah? But is that because of your physique, or is it because of your personality? Or?
I've always been told I'm intimidating because of my personality.
Because of your personality.
Yes.
So now you got the gait to go with it. Right? How do you handle that? Particularly from the physical strength aspect.
I just brush it off. I don't need to impress anyone. Like you said earlier, I'm engaged, so if anyone cares if I'm intimidated or not, that's on them.
So did you intimidate Zach?
No.
Zach
I intimidated him into proposing. No.
You intimidated him. Okay. So I am so very pleased to have had you come on to the show. I'd like to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit more about your business, okay, and your approach to your business and what people can expect.
Whether you are aiming to gain muscle mass, lose weight, just become stronger or more fit, I'm able to help you. I have been at all those points and levels in my life and have trained myself to come out of them, and I am also certified. So I know how to help you achieve your goals, no matter what they are. All ages, different sizes, different goals, whatever they may be.
You know, let's make it personal for me. We spoke a little bit earlier. I queried you and Zach on, you know, I want to get a six-pack. You know, right now I have a one-pack. You know, so I want to get a six-pack. What would you have an old guy like me do?
I definitely would have you do strength training for sure. 100%.
Now, what does that mean?
Strength training, so you'd be working with the weights.
Okay.
That'd be great for your bone density levels as well.
Okay.
So we'd be working on your muscularity, and then we'd have you on a diet plan.
No, with that, you would have to say diet. That's okay.
Meal plan.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit better, I guess. But so with strength training, I would be working on a particular part of my body? Or
you'd be working on your whole body, building that muscularity up everywhere.
Now, so how does that work with the six-pack? So when someone talks about the six-pack, you mentioned earlier that you focus on different parts of the body on different days of the week. For someone like myself who wanted to try and make a miracle happen and develop a six-pack, would there be crunches and so forth, or you just work with the whole body to get to the core?
When you're actually lifting any part of your body, you're actually using your core to stabilize yourself. So every time that you're doing weights, no matter what your body part you're doing, you're actually working your core to stabilize yourself. So your core is getting worked every time you work out, and then you would, of course, have your own separate ab exercises, but not as much so as you would. It'd be being worked through lifting weights.
See, I didn't know that. I had no idea. You always were working on your core. Well, it's been great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so very much for joining us. And thank you, Zach, for coming to be with us. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been BioRhythms. We want to thank you so very much for joining us. And Miss Princess Friday. We'll see you next time. Thank you.